God used the ministry of Cru to change my life when I was in high school, and teenagers today are in desperate need of that same life-changing message.
I live in a very sexually active generation.
I live in the least parented generation.
I live in the most tolerant generation.
Will you help reach me?
%90 of my generation have been exposed to online pornography.
Every minute, a baby is born to a teen mother.
Every 5 hours, a teen or student commits suicide.
Nearly 4,700 kids run away from home every day.
2 out of 5 teenagers intentionally harm themselves. Will you reach me?
"44% of students at my high school never graduate."
A high school dropout is 8 times more likely to go to jail than someone who has a diploma.
By the age of 20, 3 out of 4 teens will have had sex.
53% of teenagers believe that Jesus had sinned.
Researchers say that only 4% of my generation will actually be Bible-believing Christians.
Will you please come help reach me?
In the past month, 1 out of every 3 teenagers have been drunk.
1 out of 4 high school girls has been a victim of physical or sexual abuse.
44% of teenagers believe they won't have a great life.
65% of us say that there's no way to tell which religion is true.
340,000 teenagers have an abortion each year.
50% of teenagers are sexually active.
Will you please come help reach me?
As you can see, without Christ, the world is without hope. The problems and pressures that young people face today are far greater than when you or I were their age. But consider this. Teenagers are also the most open and responsive group to the gospel throughout the entire world. About 75% of all people who choose to embrace Jesus Christ as their Savior do so before their 18th birthday. The same things that make them more susceptible to depression, addictions, and hurting themselves and others also make them all the more hungry for real relationships and real truth. This isn't just what the researchers say, but it's also what Sue and I have experienced firsthand in our ministry with Cru in the U.S. and abroad. I'll never forget Alex, who came to our camp in Russia hoping to party and was disappointed that the rules prohibited drinking alcohol. But as the week went on, he realized how much more fun he was having without it and how superficial his friendships were. On the outside he looked cool, but on the inside he was depressed. Alex had heard enough about God at camp to pray, "God, if you're real, will you help me give up drinking?" With the Lord's help, Alex became sober, put his faith in Jesus, and got connected with a local church. The next year he shared his story in front of the whole camp, many of whom knew what he was like before Christ. And now God has given him the joy you see radiating from his face in this picture. So if the charge that Jesus left for us as his followers to carry out is truly to go and make disciples of all nations, then why not focus our time, efforts, and resources on the most responsive age group worldwide? Teenagers have their whole lives ahead of them. Their decision to follow Christ will affect the careers they choose, the person they marry, the way they raise their children, and how they treat their neighbors. Okay, so we've answered the question, why reach teenagers? But that raises another question. How do we reach them? Please watch the next video titled, How We Reach Teenagers to find out.